Hi everyone, thank you for joining. If you have any questions as we go through this webinar, please type them into the questions box on your screen and we'll be sure to get those answered at the end. With that being said, Alex, I will turn it over to you.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Alex Burns, and I'm the Vice President here at P3. And one of the main things that I do is kind of oversee the development department here. So any changes, improvements, enhancements to our system, and a big part of really, as our system has grown over the years, is really some of the partnerships that we have with other folks in the industry. And Blue Cow is an organization that we've had a relationship with for a long time. They were one of our first back office software integrations years ago when we first started bringing integrations into P3. So we just wanted to have Todd from PDI, formerly Blue Cow, join us today and just give an opportunity for everybody out there to just hear a little bit more about, you know, where the P3 Blue Cow integration stands today, as well as kind of what direction it's headed in, and then also give you the opportunity, like Jane said, if you have any questions or anything, to just get that out there while we're here together sort of talking about it. So I think with that, Todd, if you want to introduce yourself to the group here.
Yep, no, great. Thanks, Alex. Yep, so my name is Todd Kipperman. I'm a sales director at Blue Cow Software, which is now PDI Technologies. It's actually been a great opportunity for Blue Cow to kind of stretch out the resources and provide a little bit more for our clients as well as their mutual customers as well. So basically, you know, in February 2023, we were acquired by PDI Technologies. We kind of were that little piece of the puzzle they were missing for home delivery, which is our main focus in our software. You know, whatever the fuels are, as well as HVAC side of things. And so that's kind of a little piece that they were looking to do. And so it was a great opportunity that we were purchased by PDI Technologies. And with that, it also gave us the opportunity from being the phase one with, you know, with P3 over the years, now going to phase two, gives the opportunity to kind of enhance that interface integration with P3 Propane as well for our clients. So that way they have a, you know, this opportunity with our software and with P3.
Great, wonderful. Thanks, Todd. So yeah, so I think just a couple things just to kind of make everybody sort of aware of, and then what we figured we'd do today is just, you know, kind of show you very quickly some of the efficiency gains of an integration, just so that everybody out there, you know, kind of understands what this integration really brings from the table from the perspective of both softwares. So one of the things that we do, we meet monthly as a group. So depending on what types of projects are going on, sometimes we're meeting monthly, P3 and Blue Cow, to talk about, you know, more from a management perspective, what are the priorities, what direction do we want to go in? And then sometimes depending on how deep we are into a project, we're having more development related meetings. So our teams, you know, are in contact, and obviously a lot of times, you know, from our perspective, and as in Blue Cow as well, we, you know, we're not really interested in taking on projects that aren't going to be very meaningful to our common customers. So a lot of times the conversations that we're having are related to customer requests, things that you folks are interested in and that would really help you run your business. So we're always, you know, listening to those things and having ongoing conversations about those things. So just, you know, I think it's worthwhile letting everybody know that we do spend time talking about the things that come up when we're having conversations with you. So I think maybe what I'll do just real quickly is just for anybody out there who's sort of unfamiliar with the way that that P3 kind of works here, we'll just show really when we talk about integration, we're going to focus today a little bit more on phase two, but it's really important to understand exactly what phase one is before we can even really start to talk about phase two. So really at phase one integration, this is just some test data that we have here. So what I'm showing is the P3 dashboard. So if you're logging into P3 on a desktop computer, this is what you're going to get to. And then going to bring you right in here to the account list. Oops, sorry. And then, so again, this is some test data, but what this is going to do is this is information coming over directly from Blue Cow. So we're going to take all your customer demographics. So that's account number, name, address, also importantly, this location number. So if you've got an account that has multiple locations on it, here's a couple of good examples. You're going to be able to see the difference and understand the difference between those locations. So all of that information, when we very first start the integration, your whole propane customer base is going to come over to P3, and then every kind of on a move forward basis after that, whether it's nightly or at some point during the day, we're going to take all the gains and losses out of Blue Cow, and those are going to push over to P3. So that way, any new customers you have coming in get set up, you know, exactly clean how they came over, you know, how you set them up in Blue Cow is how they're going to be in P3. So we're kind of speaking the same language that way. And then anytime you have a customer that's, you know, that's no longer a customer, there's a change, those are going to get flagged for archive in P3. So what that really does is that keeps all of your reporting and everything in P3 really clean and up to date. So you can always tell, I'll just show you real quickly here, if you click into an account, and this is an indication of a really bad slow connection, so I apologize. You're come right into the activity log, and you'll be able, this would normally say Blue Cow integration, so that you would know any activity that's taken place, that's an account coming over, an account being archived, you would know that that action came from Blue Cow, because we're going to log it right here. So you can always find that information, there. So that really is kind of how the you know, really what phase one does for you, which is more, I think, a benefit of functioning within P3, but starting to talk about phase two, which we're really excited about. We're just sort of starting to that's sort of just starting to get out there, and we'll talk a little bit about how you get to that within Blue Cow. But I think what I'll do, we had a little bit of technical difficulties today, so couldn't connect between Blue Cow and P3 today. So what we're going to do is we're just going to do some screenshots. So I don't know, Todd, if you want to kind of talk to how now anybody who's familiar with P3, or I'm sorry, Blue Cow, we're in the Blue Cow space now. So I don't know if you want to kind of speak to this, Todd.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely one of the things, and then kind of going back to Alice, what you're mentioning about how we do our monthly meetings, that's a great way where we actually, through discussions through our clients, mutual clients, figure it out how like the location number wasn't populating, and that was something that's really helpful. And just kind of going back to, that was one little example. It was great because we had all those communications. We involved our development team and your team, and then we were able to have that. So it was a lot easier for our clients to be able to know what locations, because a lot of our clients will have one account with many locations. So again, that's just kind of you know, a little proof in the pudding about how meeting together, you know, often like that, little things like that can make a big difference and big impact. And again, so you know, another thing that we, you know, try to strive with, and has always worked really well with working with P3. So going with the screenshot that you see here. So when you do pull up a customer's account, basically what you can do is on the top left where it's highlighted in yellow, location info tab, basically click on that. It brings you to the location. So when you have multiple locations, you might have different gas checks per location based on the tanks that are there. So then you can click on the gas check button itself there. And then with that, it'll bring up another screen where then you have a little button there for the P3. The great thing about this is that button and how it works. It's more of a direct connect versus a lot of data transferring back and forth or flowing back and forth. You know, we're talking about, you know, when you have a customer that maybe is no longer a customer, it gets archived. Some of that data is flowing back and forth, but this way you can actually utilize basically all the tools that P3 has, because once you click on that, when you click on that, it'll then bring you directly to your P3, or I should say to that customer's account that you're just on in the Blue Cow software. So that way you have the direct connect, and now you have all that information. Now you're in kind of the P3 environment, so that way you can utilize and maximize those tools that are all built within their system.
So even so, sort of like Todd said, this is a direct connection. So as long as you're logged into P3, it'll bring you right into the account details for that location in P3. If for some reason you were starting your day and you weren't logged into P3, it would just kick you to the login screen, log in, it'll bring you right here. This would be what would happen if you have an account with one location. If you had an account with 2 locations, it would bring you directly to the account list with both of those locations highlighted, and then you can get into directly where you need to go from there. So it's really easy to navigate. Again, if you're in that Blue Cow space, you're just really one click and you're right in here. You can get into, this is a screenshot, but you can click right into the documents. You can view all the, again, this is test data, but you'd have all the information here that you could see, or access to any PDFs that you've entered that have been created in P3. So we're really excited about having that connection completed at this point. So that's new. So I think with that though, Todd, I don't know if you want to speak to what are the requirements on the Blue Cow side in order to have access to this type of connection? What needs to happen for folks out there to have this?
Yep. So, obviously having an account with you guys is the most important, but in regards to our software and what version, the good thing is that our clients, they don't have to pay for a new version or upgrade. So it's all part of their yearly plan. So it's just a matter of making sure that if they want the phase 2 and they're all connected with you guys and in whatever requirements they need with you guys, then we can just check to make sure if they're not up to that new version of the software that has the phase 2 in there, then we would make sure that we'll get them upgraded, and then just basically schedule it all together based on when that needs to all be done, and do that with them. It's a fairly simple process, and a lot of our clients right now, a lot of them will already be on the newer version anyways, because we've been doing, now it's a little bit slower for some of our clients. Well, not all of them with AC, but otherwise for some of them, now's a good time to do a little bit of an update or an upgrade to the next version. Some of them probably already have it, but most importantly, we would just verify what they're currently on to make sure if that doesn't have the phase 2 portion or functionality in it, then we would just update them to the one that would. And that's really that. So again, that's something we would check on our side and take care of.
Okay. All right, great. Okay. So they should just plan to be in touch with you guys, or whoever they're used to working with, and they can help them navigate that version and all that.
Yep, because our support team would work with them as well as with you guys, and then that kind of coordinate all of that, because if they're new to all of it, then we would obviously want that big data push and kind of schedule that with you guys as well and with them, so that way we can, we know because of the phase 2 piece of it, we know that we want to verify that, that's which I think most people nowadays are going with phase 2 anyways. So that's kind of what we're going to be doing, is kind of one of our checks is making sure they're on the right version to get that functionality.
That sounds great. And then I think really, just again, from our perspective, sort of working together again, just sort of want to reiterate, we started with phase 1. We've kind of now we're in the process of, really finalizing and I guess ultimately rolling out phase 2 for everybody that wants it. But, this is sort of, again, phase 1, phase 2. It doesn't mean that that's sort of the end of the connection. We're certainly open to in the future. And obviously we continue to have conversations about how else can we make this partnership and this connection more valuable. So those are conversations that we're having. And, I would imagine that over time, this integration is going to continue to evolve and bring more value. And again, we look to you guys out there that are using both of these systems day in and day out to kind of help us navigate and figure out what would be the most valuable for you.
And if I was just to add, just to add to that, I agree. Obviously everything always keeps on evolving. I didn't really mention it before. I came over obviously from Blue Cow when PDI acquired us, but I've been at Blue Cow since 2008, so I've seen this kind of phase one and keep on evolving. And, you know, if anything, technology nowadays and software nowadays, you know, everything's even going that much faster. So, you know, again, through, you know, our continuous communication with P3 and feedback from the P3 side and from our client side, you know, I can see, you know, a lot more functionality, you know, that we would discuss and talk about and how to harness it the best for our clients as the industry needs more, requires more, insurance companies, you know, want more, you know, so that's where a lot, you know, I know that'll be an ongoing conversation
Yes,
throughout the years.
absolutely, yes. I think with that, I don't know if we want to maybe see if there are any questions or anything that have popped up while we've kind of been running through this stuff. I don't know, Jane, if you can see anything on your side.
Yeah, a couple of questions have come in. So the first one is, if we add a new customer and set them up in Blue Cow, we won't have to manually add it to P3.
That's correct. Yes. Yep, exactly. Yep. So, and in that way, you know that everything, you know, the two systems are calling them the same thing, everything's correct. And then also just, you know, from the P3 perspective, you're saving time if you've got technicians or drivers in the field. All they have to do is enter an account number and then they just select the location. They don't have to spend time retyping information out. And then also just the quality of the documentation at the end of the day is going to be better. Everything's going to be, you know, spelled properly, proper cased, all that. It's just cleaner, neater. You know, you don't have to kind of mess around with it. So yeah, you enter it in one place and the rest of it just sort of happens automatically.
Yeah, so in the Blue Cow, basically once that gets sent up to P3, then it gets flagged in the system not to send it again, simply.
Great. Okay, so the next one we have, will you be able to print or create PDFs for all of the P3 reports? We want to be able to add email commentary to the reports before we send them to the customers. Sorry, this one's kind of long. We would really like to print the PDF. I think print the PDF. Yeah, I think that kind of sums it up.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, sir, we have, you know, numerous PDFs inspections that can be created in P3. So, and yes, they all ultimately end up as a PDF. So if you want to download, save, email, print, you know, whatever you want to be able to do with those, you certainly can. And there, I mean, you know, we spend a lot of time talking about the safety inspection, interruption of service, documentation, cathodic protection inspections, but we go beyond that too. We have, you know, customer agreements, DOT inspections, but all of those create PDFs. So it seems like what you're mentioning should absolutely be possible, but we could follow up with some more detail if I'm, you know, misinterpreting that question at all.
Awesome. The other question is, how long does it take customer info to transfer to P3 after setting them up in Blue Cow? And so I guess I can jump in here. Some of our different integrations run at different times, but Blue Cow is sent over nightly, so that will update each night.
Yeah, so you can expect, again, you'd see it come over, you know, again, if it's happening overnight when you first log in the morning. And then that's just another really important reason to make sure that techs and drivers in the field are logging in with the connection every morning, just making sure that they get that, you know, you just want a fresh login, get you all the information that came in overnight, any changes, and then that way if you're going out to conduct a safety inspection on a new customer that just came in, you've already got all that information there and you don't have to worry about retyping it. So that's important.
Great. I think everything else here is a little bit more specific, so we can follow up with people individually. But I think that covers all the questions here for now.
Wonderful. Is there anything else, Todd, that you wanted to say before we jump off, or?
No, I mean, I guess the one thing I did want to mention before, you know, another great thing with PDI Technologies, we have our annual user group meeting. It's called Connections Live, and we have around 1,200 people that actually attend, and they're all clients that attend that event that we have actually coming up next month. Actually, I just did my airfare and everything because it's down in Washington, D.C. So it's another exciting event that PDI does, brings all the customers together. And the other nice thing is we're going to have Blue Cow. We're going to have our own little section of it for our clients specifically as well. So it's going to be another great thing that we have coming up, and that's pretty much it.
Wonderful. Well, that's great. Well, thank you so much, Todd, for joining us today. We really appreciate it, and thank you for everybody else out there. And any of the specific questions, whether they're applicable to Blue Cow or P3, we'll make sure to take a peek at those and be in touch right away. So, all right, thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.